Hey, happy Wednesday. Welcome to Science Online. My name is Chris, and March is going to be all about Earth Day and recycling and reusing and planting green things. So, today we're going to talk about using old eggshells, this stuff, old eggshells as compost to both grow and start our new garden plants and, well, feed them because this is a great source of nutrients that our plants need. Now, the big thing we want to do is, well, we need eggshells. And those eggshells, they just, we eat a lot of eggs. So all I did was I took most of the tops off. This one I broke, as you can see. It's not quite a top, but we're still going to use it. And then I just kind of cleaned them out with a little dish soap and water. Again, being very careful because if you push too hard, this happens. I broke the eggshell because they're eggshells. So once they're clean, once they're dry, you're going to want to take something sharp. So this is where you probably want to get an adult. You want to get help. And then very carefully, you are going to take that sharp and you want to just poke a hole. Now, again, eggs are one of the strongest shapes. They're like triangles. Like chickens sit on them and they survive. So this is really hard to do. So once you get it in there, you want to just wiggle it around. I kind of cheated. That one was already done. And that's going to give us drainage. Now, some people don't do this. I tend to either completely forget to water my plants or I completely overwater them. There is no in between with me, so I always put in drainage just in case. Now, as you can see, I made a mess. I put a bunch of soil in my eggs. Now, the thing that I forgot to do, whoops, see, and I just broke that one. The thing that I forgot to do is when you get potting soil, I'm going to show you, I'll bring this right up. When you get potting soil right from the bag, it usually comes just like this. Now, it's not a lot of soil, especially with the beginner soil, so you might want to add in some nutrients or some really nice dark, like dense, actual like soil with a lot of nutrients. But the problem with this also is when you add water to it, oh mighty Nalgene, the problem is because it is so light and airy, it doesn't actually soak down in. It just kind of floats on the surface. Like that's all my water right there. Can you guys see it? If I wiggle it, do you see all the water right there? So I like to, especially when I'm doing young new seedlings and plants, is I will take a big bucket, or in this case, to show you all, I have a little takeout container and I put some potting soil in it and I just pre-wet. Now I don't want the consistency of mud, just enough so that everything is wet and that way the seedlings have a nice good chance to grow. See? Now it's almost kind of like you can clump it and it'll stay. That's what we're looking for. Okay, so I take my egg. Again, I've cleaned it out. Take my egg. Take my pre-wet soil. Oh, I'm going to do it over here because I'm going to make a mess. And I just kind of fill it in. Bloop, bloop. That's all it is. Just be careful because, again, it's an egg. Tap it in. You don't want it to be super dense because we want to be able to have roots grow. Okay. Now, I've set all of mine up just back into their egg container. You can do it in a container full of rocks so they stand up. You can do it like this. You just want to make sure that they're not going to tip over. Then you're going to take your seeds of choice. I have some lovely cilantro and basil. And I know this is backwards for you, but every pack of seeds has this care and maintenance. You really want to read that because that's going to tell you how long it takes to germinate, which means how long it takes till you see sprouts. Depth, how deep you're going to plant those seeds. So, like these are 1/4 of an inch. How far away they should be spaced. We don't need that right now because we're putting them in eggs. But, excuse me, when we transfer these into our actual like long-term summer bucket, we'll have to pay attention to that. And then how many days it's going to take before they're ready to harvest, which is kind of cool. Also, for those of you who didn't realize, this is coriander, and coriander are the seeds of cilantro, which like I didn't know for the longest time and blew my mind. So I'm just gonna take my finger and drop a couple cilantro seeds, cover it up, give it a little tap. And again, I want to try and only do it so it's about, oops, bloop bloop, just so it's a quarter of an inch, so just a little seeds, little seeds. And then you forget which ones you buried. That one's already got cilantro in it. We'll do this one too. So we're gonna have 3 cilantro, bloop bloop. And again, these seeds are kind of old. I've had these for a while. I think they're from last year. And if you have extras, just put them back. So I'm doing, in case you guys didn't notice, I'm doing 2 or 3 seeds in each hole. And when they finally germinate and they come up, you can always just pluck the 2 that look the worst out. And like that's it. You've just planted cilantro, or I've just planted cilantro. As you can see, these are my chives. I planted them a while ago. They're doing very well. Um, Also, chives are great because I don't know about you, but I'm not a very good plant person. Like I said before, I tend to either overwater or underwater, and you can't really kill chives. Things that I found out. This is my basil, and again, I looked at the back. It said quarter of an inch, so I just make a little hole, put in a couple seeds, cover it up. Make a little hole. Oh, I probably should put some more soil in that one. Hold on. Put a little more soil in. Make a little hole. Put some seeds in. Cover it up. Give it a little tap. And then this one definitely needs more soil because this morning I was just making a mess. Now, as you'll notice, this one is not big enough. I'm just going to break the egg. And if the egg gets in it, that's okay. Because again, it's a great source of calcium. It's great to help your, well, it's great for composting. It's great worm food. I have friends who actually grow worms, which is kind of cool. They grow worms all winter long, and they specifically put them in their garden because it's always good to have worms in the garden. And then, like, there you go. I just don't have any more basil. So I just planted basil and cilantro in my egg cups. I'm going to take, this is just water. You can put a little fertilizer in if you want. You just want to be really careful because fertilizer, especially for new germinated seeds, can actually burn their roots. And you don't want to do that to our new seedlings. So just be really careful if you're going to use fertilizer in your water. And then once all of these guys sprout, I'm going to make sure they get big and they get hardy. And then I'm going to replant them into, well, actually, after I harden them off, I'm going to replant them in their summer home. And all you got to do is just kind of crack the bottom of the egg. And that way they can use the calcium in the inside of the egg and the outside of the egg as compost, and they can grow big and strong and get lots of roots. It's just that easy. Uh, I will give you a hint. The reason I use this container is it is plastic, as much as we talked about plastic, but it keeps in the humidity and the heat. So when I take this and put this in the sunlight, all of that moisture and stuff, ooh, seedlings love to be hot and humid. So this will help them grow once I put it in the sun. There you go. Let me see what you're doing. Ask questions, think scientifically. Let me know in the chat if it worked, if it didn't work, if you have a better way to do this. It's worked for me for a couple years. Think scientifically, ask questions, have fun and go outside. I'll see you next Wednesday. Bye-bye.